Bruce Lee is crowned the king of Kung Fu and the Grandmaster. People were shocked to learn about Bruce Lee's sudden death in his prime. What could possibly kill this toughest man in the world?
How could a healthy man die?
Some say premeditated murder.
Give him the dim bop.
Some say drug problem.
Died of drug.
Something a little shady about the way it all went down.
Some say a woman was believed to have caused his death. What really happened on this day of his death? What's the true story behind all these speculations? In today's show, we'll reveal the truth to you. On July 25th, 1973, Bruce Lee's fans all over the Bruce Lee's untimely death made international headlines. Media came up with all sorts of causes of his death. Murder is the most horrifying one amongst all. Immediately after Bruce Lee's passing, the Hong Kong police started investigating. Betty Ting Pei became their main subject, since she was the last person who saw Bruce Lee alive, and he died in her apartment. Ting had been an unknown actress in Hong Kong, who gained fame mostly because of Bruce Lee. The two met during a social event. Lee was attracted to Ting's personality. They went out a lot, and Ting had visited Lee on the set multiple times. According to Linda, Ting told her that she really loved Lee. Could it be possible that Ting murdered Bruce Lee? What was her motive? What happened between Bruce Lee and Ting at her apartment? Ting was about to play a role in Bruce Lee's new film, Game of Death, so she asked Lee to come to her apartment to discuss it. At around 7 p.m., Lee complained of a headache. Ting gave Lee a painkiller, and he then took a nap in her bedroom. At 9:45 p.m., Lee was still asleep. She tried to wake him, but failed. Soon after, he was sent to hospital. However, Bruce Lee was dead by the time he arrived at the hospital. Eventually, the police ruled out Ting as a murder suspect. Meanwhile, Bruce Lee's wife issued a clarifying statement.
It is my wish that the newspapers and the people of Hong Kong will stop speculating on the circumstances surrounding my husband's death. Although we do not have the final autopsy report, I hold no suspicion of anything other than natural death.
Murder aside, Lee's severe weight loss might shed some light about his death. This photo was shot in 1972, when Lee was filming Enter the Dragon, and the other was him shooting Game of Death a year later. As you can see, he was so skinny that he weighed only 55 kilos. This much of a weight loss might be harmless for normal people's bodies, but certainly not Lee's. His body was like a delicate machine. The slightest change could be disastrous. During the few years before his death, he'd been undergoing the strictest training. From his training log that was made public, he did abdominal muscle training and flexibility exercises from 7 to 9 a.m. every day. Every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday from 11 to noon, he practiced muscle strength weight training. He ran 10 kilometers every day at noon. However, Lee was still not satisfied with his physique. Regardless of his excessive training, in order to become fat-free, he adopted an extreme training method applying electrical muscle stimulation.
Sometimes he used electric current. He was really mad, giving himself electric shocks voluntarily. He was fighting with the electricity. Of course, we could not do it. I do not know how many volts the electricity was, but he was challenging the electricity.
You know, it's really funny that nowadays, if you go to any professional sports orthopedist place or physical therapist, you go in there and you see them using the electronic stimulation machines to rebuild muscles to help damaged areas. But way before that was employed in any physician's room, you saw Bruce Lee doing that at home on his own. He was just truly a pioneer and way ahead of his time.
Decades after Bruce Lee's death, scientists found out that applying electrical muscle stimulation for strength training can damage people's nervous system, which will further compromise the whole body system. However, dying of excessive training is another guess. There's no definitive evidence to prove that Bruce Lee indeed died of overtraining. The cause of his death still remains a mystery. "36 hours after Lee's death, an autopsy was conducted. Residues in his internal organs were sent to the lab. The forensic doctors were conducting investigations and collecting evidence. The key word that showed up in the lab report was drugs. He had 3 drugs in his system: marijuana, aspirin, and meprobamate tablets. After 2 months of intensive investigation, the court finally issued Lee's coroner's report, which stated death by misadventure. The forensic scientist explained that his death was caused by an acute cerebral edema due to an allergic reaction to aquagesic, which means Bruce Lee, this kung fu superstar, died from this painkiller.